Appreciate you guys coming here. First off, 19 days on the job. Feels like it's been already 2 years. And when I got here, I guess that Friday night, that next Saturday, it's sort of an understatement to say that the program was a little bit in a fragile state. But we had so much to do in a short time to get there, and we just really had to focus in one step at a time. And it started on Saturday. First priority was getting some coaches in to help us hit the road recruiting, and then, of course, putting all our energy on the 8 midterm signees, which was in a real fragile state as well. And so I was real pleased that all 8 of them came back, and I thought that was a good first step of where we were headed. And then on Sunday, really got to give a lot of credit to Lance and Jim, who were on the staff before. We got a good personnel overview of our roster, and then just spent all day and night going through recruiting tape because I was not familiar with all these guys, and then developed a plan to hit the road. And we hit the road for we had 2 weeks of recruiting and 2 official visit weekends, and here we are today. And Tennessee has so much to sell. The university has so much to sell, so it wasn't as hard as people think to go out there and convince some of these young men to come to Tennessee. It was just a matter of me getting in front of them and selling who I am and what I believe, and selling our coaching staff, and selling where we're headed with the program. As you know, we're almost completed. We've almost completed our staff. We have one more hire, and I'll finally be able to catch my breath when that's finished. I don't want to really get into all the particulars on each recruit, because I do believe this, that there's no way that I can sit here and project how good these guys are going to be 2 to 3 years from now, because today is really when the work begins, and how we coach them, how we mentor them, how we support them, how we develop them mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally. There's so many factors that go in to how well these guys end up performing for the university and how well our teams are in the next 2 or 3 years. So I think it's a little bit jumping the gun to get so excited on signing day, even though I know it's a great event for the fans. And just as an example, I was looking back, I think in '07, we had the number 3 signing class in the country, according to the experts. And today, we got about 53% of those guys still on the roster. So it ought to tell you what's really important is not just getting the guys, but then what we do after they get here. So that's where we are. I'm happy to finally get to this point, and I'm pleased overall with the guys that we have. But at the end of the day, we'll never know how they are. This class will be evaluated 3 or 4 years from now. I'm still trying to find if there's anything wrong with this place. Are you kidding me? I mean, what is not to sell? The university is a great university. The support here is better than anywhere in the country. The league we're playing in, the resources that our program has, the resources that our athletics director commits to the program. I mean, what is not to sell? I think what the important thing is now, how do you develop your structure on the team and your staff to get everybody moving in the right direction? So ultimately, that's what's going to be the difference, and that's what I was out selling. I mean, there weren't many times I had to sit there and tell them about Tennessee and the SEC. So many things take care of themselves on that end. I had to sell what I believe in values and what I believe in how we're going to structure our program, how we're going to support these players, and that's ultimately, to me, the difference in the programs. I think your body of work gets measured over time, and just because assume Derek does turn out to be a great player. Well, what about the other 20 guys? He's not going to win it alone. So the more better players we get in the program, the better chance we have to have success in this league. And so I mean, one thing that is certain is that we have to do a good job in the state of Georgia, among other states. But there's a lot of good football players in that state. And in the past, in all my years of watching this program, when they've won, they've had some very good football players come out of Georgia. I mean, I remember when I was on the Georgia staff as a GA, and Cozy Coleman, Jamal Lewis, and Deion Grant gets, plucked right out of the state. And what happens a few years later? National championship. So that's not to say that that's the only state that's important, but it's certainly a critical state because of the number of good football players and its close proximity. Before you even start talking about the other states, it's important to make sure that you convince the young men in your state that this is the best option for them. Certainly there's a lot of reasons for a Tennessee high school player to want to come here, and it's just a matter of us selling. So I was real happy James changed his mind, and I was real happy he allowed me an opportunity to get in front of him and come look at us. So everything starts with your state, and then you kind of build it from inside out, and I think that's the key to recruiting. We're trying to get every position when we go recruiting. So there's not a guy that we go out and recruit and sign that we don't hope turns into an All-American or All-Conference football player. And every time I think it's going to be this guy, it's always the other guy. And if we all knew, if we could project that well, then we wouldn't make the number of mistakes that we make all the time as coaches. I mean, it happens in the NFL. I mean, these guys have more resources and more access to information on players than anybody. And first-round draft choices end up being busts all the time. So it's the human element. It's the hard wiring inside that you can never project. It's really hard to say, what do we need? And it's more important, I think, to say, what are the best players out there that we can get? And certainly, there's no question, next year's class better be heavy with some linemen. So, you know, I think there were some areas where we got exactly what we hoped for, and there's some areas where you never are happy with, but I think that's going to be the case on every signing day. Next year, we may be saying the same thing about another position. You know, I think how it is you never go to bed feeling good, and certainly not in this league. So you always go to bed saying, okay, this large chunk, I feel pretty good. These guys, I'm always nervous. These guys I think we might can get, but I'm not sure. I mean, there's always that group, and when it happens, it is what it is. And it's a helpless feeling. Probably the two worst days of a coach are Monday and Tuesday after it goes dead, and then the few hours leading up to all the faxes. So it's just a helpless feeling. And, you know, when you lose communication with them, that's when it really gets bad. So, I mean, to say this was a surprise, I think it's fair to say you have some disappointments, but not surprises. And you have some, I don't know, what's the opposite of being disappointed? Ecstatic? You have a few of those, but not surprised. You know, we have one or two spots where if the right player comes in who fits what we need, we have that flexibility. But there's a lot of, you know, you could also count them back, so there's a lot of different ways we can use those openings. But I didn't take anybody in this class that I didn't think could come compete in the SEC. And that doesn't mean I'm right on them. So, yeah, I'm happy that we got Marquise. And I don't know why there weren't more schools on him. That's not for me. All I worry about is what we see. And we're going to make some mistakes in evaluating guys, but we're going to hit on some guys. And, you know, what you try to do over the course of time is you minimize the number of mistakes you make because you're always going to make them. You know, y'all made a bigger issue out of it than me. I didn't think it was that big a deal. I mean, it snowed, and guys came in late. I mean, it isn't because our program stinks. It was happening all over the South. You know, I mean, I-75. If a guy doesn't come here because I-75 was closed on a snowstorm, then I really probably don't want him anyway because he's not choosing a college for the right reasons. So, I mean, we had bad weather. I still saw the players that came in. They still had a good experience here. Gave you something to talk about. I'm not even sure what your question was. Huh? I don't do anything that I don't expect challenges. And if you think everything's going to go smoothly in this profession, you may as well not be in it. I mean, what are we going to do the first interception we throw? Gloom and doom. I mean, it's challenging. I mean, but that's what you're dealt with. So you can't whine and you can't complain. I mean, when I took the job, I didn't go, well, that's no fair. I mean, you know what you're getting into. So there's nothing you can do to look back and say, well, gosh, this, gosh, that. I mean, I'm happy with the class that we got. And there's going to be challenges in everything. You know, we're going to have challenges in a game. You're going to say, well, God, how difficult was it? It started raining right when y'all kicked off, and that really, I mean, that welcome to life. You know, you have challenges. Things don't always work out the way you want it, and so you just figure out a solution to the next thing, and that's what we tried to do. I mean, there's challenges, but there were some advantages. I mean, let's don't lose sight that we got some guys who weren't interested in this place for other reasons. I mean, James Stone's a classic example. So for every time you complain about, well, we lost this guy, but we also got rewarded too. So it all evens out. It really does. I couldn't have done what I've done without, and look, I got to give David Blackburn credit. He's here too. I mean, those three guys really got me up to speed on a lot of things that allowed me to forge ahead. And certainly Lance and Jim did a great job of getting me up to speed on the players, where we were, who we had a chance at, who we could get back in on. And then, of course, the support staff did a great job of the video and getting everything in front of me in a time-efficient manner. So it really was a collection of a lot of help to get me to operate as fast as I could. And it probably would have been impossible to do what we did at a lesser resource program.